Welcome to Lattes and Lattes, the podcast where we blend the world of law and business with a warm cup of information and common sense. I'm your host, Sidney Whelan, attorney, real estate investor, and business owner. Each week, we'll be your go-to source for legal insights, business advice, and so much more. Whether you're a seasoned professional, an ambitious entrepreneur, or simply someone seeking guidance, we'll have you covered. From navigating the legal landscape to empowering you with valuable business strategies, we'll explore the legal side of life and enjoy a virtual latte along the way. So, grab your favorite latte, get comfortable, and let's dive in to Lattes and Lattes. Welcome back to Lattes and Lattes, where we talk about life, law, business, and building something meaningful, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Sidney Whelan, founder of the Whelan Law Firm, now serving North Central Missouri businesses and families in 3 convenient locations, Moberly, Carrollton, and now in Paris. Today, I want to introduce you to a concept that I've been thinking about for a long time. You see, I didn't grow up learning about investing, building wealth, or owning assets. I grew up watching 2 hardworking parents do everything they could to provide, and they did a great job. But like a lot of families, we weren't talking about business strategy, tax planning, or how to build something that could generate income without you being there every day. And for a long time, I didn't even realize there was another way. It wasn't until much later, after I became a lawyer, after I started my own firm, that I began to see the gaps. Not because I wasn't working hard, but because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think a lot of us are in that exact same place, and I think this is especially true for most women. I believed for a long time that if I just worked hard enough, everything else would fall into place. And to some extent, that's true. Hard work does matter. But what I've learned is that hard work without strategy often leads to burnout, not freedom. No one sat me down and explained how to structure a business so it doesn't depend entirely on you, how to think about assets versus income, how to make money work for you instead of constantly working for money, or how to structure your business and your life to maximize life and minimize taxes. Those are very different skill sets, and most of us were never taught them. One of the biggest gaps I felt, and I still see, is mentorship. And again, I think this is especially true for women. A lot of men have built-in environments where relationships and opportunities naturally happen, whether that's on the golf course, hunting trips, or even just meeting up for drinks. Business gets discussed, deals get made, and advice gets shared. Women don't always have those same built-in spaces, and even when we do, they don't always center around money, investing, or building wealth. So many women are left trying to figure this out on their own, quietly, and often later than they should have to. There's also this feeling that creeps in, like you're behind, like you should have known this earlier, like everyone else got some kind of playbook that you missed. I felt that. But here's what I've started to realize. Most people didn't get the playbook. Some just had proximity to it earlier than others. And once you see it, once you understand it, you can move forward very quickly, faster than you think even. Now, I think very differently about money and work. Instead of asking, how hard do I need to work to earn more? I ask, what can I build that produces income consistently, even when I'm not there every day? That's how I changed how I look at my law firm, my real estate investments, and other opportunities. I'm more focused now on building systems, not just income, assets, not just activity. And it's a shift, but it's a powerful one. If you're like me and you didn't grow up learning this, there is nothing wrong with you. But you have an opportunity to learn it now. And if you're like me, I believe it's your responsibility to learn it now. Not only for yourself, but for your families and for the people who depend on you. You don't need to know everything at once. You just need to start asking better questions. How does this make money without me? Is this an asset or just more work? Who can I learn from? And maybe, most importantly, start having these conversations with other women, because we don't need to wait for an invitation into someone else's room. We can build our own. I'm still figuring this out, but I'm a lot further ahead than I was a few years ago. And if you're listening to this podcast, you can be too. This is exactly why I'm having these conversations here, so that maybe you don't have to learn everything the hard way or the slow way. And maybe together we close that knowledge gap a little sooner. Thanks for spending this time with me today on Law Days and Lattes. If this episode made you think about some of your own knowledge gaps, you're in the right place. Share this episode with someone else who's building something meaningful. Let's continue this conversation on future episodes as we join together to close the knowledge gaps in our own lives. As always, keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you next time. Have a great week, my friends.
This podcast episode contains general information for discussion purposes only. Each case is different and must be judged on its own merits. Missouri rules generally prohibit lawyers from advertising that they specialize in particular areas of the law. This show should not be construed to suggest such specialization. Nothing on this show should be taken as legal advice for any individual case or situation. This information is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship, and the listening or viewing of this podcast does not constitute an attorney-client relationship. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.